JT is going to be one of the main guys when he retires. You cannot go over to Europe 2 years after the biggest win in a long time in the Ryder Cup on U.S. soil, going over there into enemy territory where you've had no success in 3 decades and not bring Justin Thomas. All right, Foreplay presented by Barstool Sports, brought to you by our great friends at Chevy. I'm outside of the Barstool Classic here in Grand Traverse, just outside of Traverse City, or maybe we're in Traverse City. My connection's probably a little bit spotty, so I might be going in and out, but busy stretch, a lot going on. We got pickleball, we got golf, we got playoffs, we got Ryder Cup drama, we got all kinds of stuff going on. So it's nice to see you fellows. I'm excited to catch up, and I'm excited to talk a little, excited to talk JT. I played in the Pro-Am. Bryson shot 58. I'm at war with American Airlines. There's a lot of shit going on right now.
A lot of shit going on. We're wearing many hats. We're flying around countries. I would say I'm going to Toronto this week, so we're international as well. It's been kind of a grind. We're in the busy season. Riggs has been flying all over the place, playing Liberty National, playing Pro-Ams, coming to the pickleball event. Yeah, we got a lot to get to.
We do have a lot to get to. Look, when you take, I think I've taken 58 or something flights already this year. You guys are probably very similar. You're just going to have issues. But I had back-to-back issues. I had Newark on Friday. I'm trying to rush to play a little bit of golf. Alex Bush, Captain Cons from Zero Blog 30, our friend Kevin Hopkins are trying to play a little twilight golf. Flight gets delayed an hour, and then I'm at the baggage claim at Newark, and I get my first bag, and then just as I'm about to get my golf bag, I'm following it on the air tag because I have the air tag situation, and it's just on the other side of the oversized baggage. They're about to hit the little alert thing, and it comes out, and then they just evacuate the whole airport. The alarms start going off, and out of nowhere, they just require you to evacuate Newark Airport, which I've never seen happen at an airport in my entire life.
Oh, that's a nerve-wracking situation.
It's got to be for a valid reason, though, no?
So the best they never really gave any details. They just had all the sirens going on. They made you evacuate the airport. So for about 15 minutes or so, the sirens continue to go off. The lady that's got the pre-recorded thing is like, you must evacuate the premises immediately. And nobody knows what the hell's going on. And then they came back and they essentially just said, the fire alarm has been cleared. You may re-enter the airport. So then I was able to finally re-enter the airport, go back in there, get my bags, and they never actually said what happened. I'm guessing maybe somebody randomly pulled the fire alarm or something. I can't think of anything else.
If somebody tells me to get out of an airport, if the alarms are going off, at that point I no longer own anything. I'm out of there. Like I'm not messing around with any of that.
Well, I was also
Personally.
worried, like today, I'm worried about everything. I was worried about active shooter. Like, is there a shooter? Is the shooter going to be like outside of the baggage? So then I'm like, where do I exit? Where's everybody going? So it was kind of chaotic, but also I was like, I'm trying to play golf. I just gave me my fucking golf bag. So I actually didn't even run out of there right away. I kind of went over to the guy and was like, hey, I got, if I could just get this golf bag, you might save me an hour, 2 hours. I don't know how long they're going to make you evacuate this airport. So it was a weird situation. And then yesterday, American Airlines just maybe we've flown a lot. I've never seen anything happen yesterday with American Airlines in my entire life. I can't even explain it. They couldn't explain it, to the point where they just gave me thousands of dollars in vouchers within 30 minutes of it happening because they knew they fucked up so badly.
What was it?
I
don't understand.
So I arrive at the airport at Newark an hour early yesterday, which is standard. Like, I have first class tickets, so you go to the first class line to check your bags, so there's never any wait. And then got TSA pre and clear. Takes 5 minutes to get through security. Take a million flights a year. This is what I do every fucking time. I get there an hour early, check my bags. So I arrive an hour early. I check my bags and check in probably 55 minutes before my flight. Zero issues. Check the bags. I get a boarding pass. No issues. The only thing that's a little bit of a flag at this point, looking back, is they give me my boarding pass. And my boarding pass says, see gate agent for seat assignment. And I'm like, all right, that's a little weird, but like, whatever. It's chaos out here. So if that's the worst thing that happens, no big deal. I go through security. I get through security in 5 minutes. I'm at the gate 45 minutes before the plane's supposed to take off, 15 minutes before they even start boarding. I go up to the gate agents, and it's two ladies working, and they're flustered. I could tell right away they're a little bit flustered. And I just say, hey, here's my thing. It says this. They go, okay, we're just trying to sort a few things out. We'll call you up when we have it. I'm like, okay. Well, 10 minutes goes by. They start boarding. pre-boarding, right? All the people limping on there, military, everybody's great. Then they got like the priority people, which I mean, at this point, I'm platinum, whatever status on American. And I'm like, I should be boarding at first class ticket. Nothing. Group 1, Group 2, Group 5 goes through. They get to the point in the boarding process where they're telling people now that the overhead bin space is full, so they got to check their bags. So people are losing their minds. Like, I don't want to check my carry-on. So they're dealing with all this chaos, and I'm sitting here like I'm not on the plane. I don't have a seat. What is happening here? And so I go up there, and I tried to talk to them, and they're flustered trying to deal with all these other people, and they're not handling it well at this moment. The ladies are like snapping back at people. People are not happy about the check thing. It's chaos up there. And meanwhile, I'm like, I don't have a seat. So eventually they're like, you checked in too late, so your seat was given to someone else. And I'm like, what? I've been standing here I've been at the gate for 30 minutes. The flight doesn't depart for another 20 minutes. I look on my Apple tag again. My bags are on the plane. So I'm like, what are you talking about? I checked it too late. I checked my bags. Everything's fine. And they're like, we just have to sort all this out. We're going to try to get you on the flight. I'm like, no, I have a first class seat on the flight. They end up not letting me on the plane, and they overbooked the flight. So all of the seats are full, and I have to make a connection in Traverse City like an hour after I'm supposed to land in Chicago, but I'm not even on this flight. And so I'm just standing there. They close the doors, and then they start to try to deal with it. And I could tell right away they realize, like, oh, shit, we weren't supposed to do that, because a manager shows up. That, like, I didn't call or anything, but manager shows up. And in this moment, I'm doing, like, we've been through this enough that all I keep telling myself, because this happens frequently enough, I keep telling myself, like, act in this moment like tomorrow you, who's at Traverse City, would want you to act. Because the next day, when it's over and you've gotten to where you've gotten, you look back and you're like, yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal. It was infuriating in the moment. So I'm trying to, like, stay calm, handle it. I call Kyle, who kind of books a lot of our stuff now, and I'm like, look, worst case scenario, I can fly to Detroit on this 8-something flight. I can get a rental car and I could drive 4 hours up to Traverse City. It stinks, but, like, I can get there. And so then the manager comes over, and they're like whispering, talking. And I hear the ladies afterwards debriefing about what happened. The one lady's telling the other lady about the conversation with the manager. And she's like, so he was very upset, and he told us that we messed up many different things. But the main one is that we absolutely were not supposed to deny him boarding the flight. And I'm standing there and I can hear this, and I'm like, yeah, I think that's probably right. Like, I had a first class ticket. I'm supposed to be on this flight. And so then they go into total panic mode, and they're trying to get this voucher. And she ends up getting my personal number, the lady at the gate, and books me a flight on United that then gets into Chicago. But I have to run to get on the flight to United, and it's leaving an hour after my other flight was supposed to take off. So unless the Traverse City flight's delayed, I'm not going to make it on the Traverse City flight. Now I'm stuck in Chicago, which is a 5-hour drive instead of a 4-hour drive, and it's going to get me in at like 4 in the morning. So anyways, she ends up booking me this United flight. So I have to sprint, catch a bus, sprint again, and then try to get on the United flight, which amazingly ends up occurring because somebody didn't show up to United flight. So now I'm in 34B on the fucking United flight. And then we land. They sit on the tarmac for 15 minutes waiting for a plane to leave our gate. So I'm 100% going to miss that flight. I fucking get there. I'm doing the whole, hey, I got to make a connection thing. And everybody's cool. They're letting me go through. It's now 8:40. And the other flight was supposed to leave at 8:38, but it says it's delayed till 8:50. And I'm like, well, there's no way I'm going to make it, but I'm going to try because I don't want to drive fucking 5 hours and rent the car. So I get off at O'Hare. When I tell you there couldn't be two gates on planet Earth that are farther away from each other than these two gates at O'Hare, I was in like C fucking 2 or something. And this one was L20, which I didn't even heard of an L. Dude, I'm fucking running, and you realize how out of shape you are. I'm running for like 45 seconds, about as fast as I can run, and then I just have to walk. Like, if I don't walk, I'll just die. And I'm like, I can't just die at O'Hare. Like, that's not possible. And you kind of like, you build up again. You run for like 45 seconds straight as hard as you can. Dude, tunnel after tunnel, I would make a turn. It'd be like J, K, M, and L gates are this way. And it just never said that I was to the L terminal. Like 20 minutes go by. I'm running. I'm like sweating, panting. I'm trying to get the cart people to drive me around because the cart people, there's just parked fucking carts, you know?
Oh my
and
God.
like, and the cart people were like, yeah, unless you got an injury. And I'm like, I'm going to have a fucking injury. Do you see me right now? I'm running. And 20 minutes I run across this airport. Like, And now it's like 9 o'clock. I'm like, there's no way. I finally get to the gate. I'm dead. My right knee gave out. So I'm like limping up to the gate. I'm sweating profusely. And they're just finishing up boarding. So I somehow make this fucking Traverse City flight. I check my email. I've got a $2,000 voucher that American Airlines sent me. Sent me a $2,000 voucher because of this mistake. The flight only cost like $600. So I end up barely making the flight. And then when we land, I was guessing all adrenaline was going. When we land, I go to stand up and my right knee just gives out. Like my meniscus or something just like just couldn't handle the running that I did. So I'm like one-legged trying to get off this fucking plane. And then Social Rob picked me up and we just hammered over to this Taco Bell at like 12:30. It was open till 1 a.m. Destroyed Taco Bell. Woke up this morning and my recovery, for someone that didn't drink and got like almost 6 hours of sleep, my recovery was like a 0 because the strain level and the Taco Bell level of my body was in such shocking shape. But boys, they just gave my seat away and wouldn't let me on the airplane for absolutely no reason on American Airlines. Like 0 reason.
That's an absolute scene, dude. You painted an absolute scene.
What a tale!
My biggest takeaway would be if anyone has footage of Riggs profusely running through that airport to try and make it to that flight. I need to see that now. I need to see all of it. I need to see every interaction trying to get on those.
I know I tweeted out the video,
carts.
but I was just a dead person.
That was insane.
Like I literally, my shirt was so gross. There was like 1 or 2 guys that as I'm sprinting by, they were like Barstool, and I just was like, oh, like that was like the only thing I could muster up was just.
That's just a fucking tough night. But that's tough.
I'll never get an answer. They just gave my seat away and wouldn't let me on the airplane. I just don't.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, no, they fucked up.
It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable behavior. The airports are out of control. Jersey Jerry tweeted out recently. He's like, everyone keeps saying COVID's over, but if you've ever been to an airport, it's not. Like these airports just have not recovered. I don't know what happened. Everyone's brains got reset or something because like things are just not working the way they used to. Everything's back. We're back, but we're not back. We're still in the midst of this thing. People's brains are foggy.
I feel very lucky. I don't run into that many problems at the airport. I really haven't. And I don't know why that is. My bags usually get there. My flights are usually on time. I missed a flight like a few weeks ago and out to Arizona, but that was my fuck up. I guess I got there a little bit late. I mean, they were running slow, but like overall, I usually have a pretty good airport experience. Now, going forward, I'm sure I'll miss every single flight and I'll never ever get on an airplane again. And I'll never get my bags. But so far, it's been pretty good. But I can obviously feel it. I'm in airports enough where they're definitely understaffed. These ladies that you ran into last night, Riggs, they're just trying to deal with whatever's going on. And we've gone through that before where it's like, you don't want to yell at the people who they're not purposely causing it to happen. It's just they're understaffed and they're trying to figure this shit out.
Yeah, Trent, you're 100% right. You don't want to be like the guy that's yelling at the folks. So I also, I hate being like human because I would love to just be a machine in this point and be able to like either stand your ground or not. And what happened was like when the ladies, like I said, they were not handling the original rush well at all. They were overwhelmed. It was chaos and they were snapping back at people. It wasn't a good scene. Once the chaos got onto the plane, then they turned back into like remorseful people. And once I saw them get reprimanded, I felt very bad for them in the moment where I was like, well, that sucks. Like I don't think they were trying to screw up. They just, whatever happened and it didn't go my way. But then like the lady got my phone number and called me twice to make sure I made both of my flights. And I felt very bad and was like, thank you for all of the help, even though like you kind of fucked me and made me have to sprint and almost have a heart attack 4 times at the fucking airport.
Super fair.
Yeah.
Chevrolet, Chevy EVs in particular, just absolutely changing the game, Trent. We love Chevrolet and Chevy as a trusted brand with innovation and scale. There's nothing better. Chevrolet has been trusted with transportation needs for the last 100 years. We get into a lot of nostalgic talk later on in this podcast, talking about the past and where we've come from and technology and how it feels like you need to sometimes take a step back and realize how far the world has come Chevrolet has made it through it all. Chevrolet has been here for 100 years. They've always been there for you before. Who better to take you into this next phase of electric vehicles? Because no matter how much we sometimes want to stop it, it's going to go. We're going to electric vehicles. Electric vehicles are the way of the future, and Chevrolet has got to be the one that you trust with your transportation needs. Chevy has been in the EV game for a while now, selling hybrids and all electric cars for over a decade. So if you're jumping into this new world and you're going to be moving forward with electric vehicles, you have to go with Chevy. Learn more at chevy.com/electric. They'll give you everything you need there. Make sure you go to chevy.com/electric.
Let's talk about Justin Thomas.
You guys talk about Justin Thomas. I'm going to try to find a better place with better Wi-Fi.
Justin Thomas fell short of the playoffs.
Just short
of the playoffs. It was a miraculous, I guess you'd call it, finish that just came up short. His little out of the trees hook punch out was Tiger-esque, where it was a ridiculous recoil and spin around and pirouette. And then he lips out on his chip to make the playoffs. He falls to the ground in a reaction that we've never seen in professional golf before. It was like something that would come out of a foreplay video.
What did you think about the reaction? You did like it.
I loved it. I mean, it was like watching a foreplay video. It was a guy that really wanted to make that chip. It made me think like he's a guy that doesn't make those all the time, and like he really wanted it to go in. Obviously, that's not the case. He can chip in from really anywhere. He's one of the best players on the planet. But like it meant so much to him, just like for us, that one time we ever chip in's like the greatest elation feeling of all time. He needed that to drop. And it just shows how fucking hard this game is. Is like you can do everything right. He felt like he was playing great golf. Some bounces didn't go his way. Listen, I've seen both takes on Twitter. I get it. Like a lot of people are saying, yeah, it was a great little comeback. He made the cut. He battled back in the rain. He never should have been in this position in the first place. He was one of the best players on the planet, has fallen off, had a horrible year. He doesn't deserve to make the Ryder Cup, blah, 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 all of this stuff. The guy still has it in him. As he's going through a rough patch of golf, but he's proven that like he wants it and that he also has it in him. Those shots that he was hitting coming down the stretch was incredible. I mean, he was showing flashes of JT. That was JT coming out on Sunday. And maybe it wasn't falling for him. Maybe he wasn't going as low as he wanted to. Obviously he didn't, because he didn't make it. But fuck, man, like how you can watch that as Zach Johnson and not just include that guy on your team is crazy to me. I think he completely solidified his spot in the Ryder Cup with his performance this week.
And it's just great theater. Like you don't get that. Like a guy trying to make the playoffs, a guy of his caliber grinding at the end to try to make the playoffs. And it's amazing to me that last chip, just how close these guys can get it when they have to make it. Like if I'm standing over that ball and I'm like, I got to make this to accomplish whatever, like break 90 or win a match or do whatever, my chip doesn't get even close. Like I sail it or I chunk it. They are so precise that in the moment when it's like, I have to make this to accomplish what I want to accomplish, it misses by a millimeter. That is so incredible. The shot before it was incredible. Yeah, I thought it was great. Those people who were saying like, oh, you know, he should have never been in that position anyway. Whatever. He's a guy in a funk. Like he hasn't been playing well. But if you can't enjoy that final hole that he played, then you shouldn't even be watching the sport. You should be watching something else. So I think he should be on the Ryder Cup team as well. He wants it. He's just going through a little bit of something right now. He's going to regain that form. He's far too talented not to regain the form that he's been in the past. So I thought yesterday that was just a ton of fun to watch.
And
overall.
All these guys, it seems like in this group, have gone through similar things. You've got Justin Thomas going through right now, Ricky Fowler, Jordan Spieth, Smiley Kaufman. They all went through these like really, really rough patches where they had it. They were at the top of the game, and then they just fall off like a steep cliff. And you're like, how the hell did that happen? I just don't put Justin Thomas in that category yet. I don't think he's fallen off. Yes, he had a bad year. We can look at it. He missed the cut a million times. Like I get that. He's done like he has not had a Justin Thomas year. But when you watch his actual rounds of golf, it doesn't feel like he's that far off. We're giving him the benefit of the doubt. We are JT guys. I am a JT guy. I have definitely given him the benefit of the doubt. He has not gotten to that point yet. I'm not considering JT a lost cause like we did with Ricky for like 4 years, and like we did with Spieth, and like we're saying with Rory, where he hasn't won a major. Like we're not. I'm not pinning any sort of narrative on Justin Thomas just yet. I don't think he's gotten to that point. So for him to get all of this hate, yes, he's not making the playoffs, but for anyone to watch the way he's playing golf right now and say that he's like in a certain like his game and his like where his game is at right now is a certain place. I don't think that's fair yet.
No, the Spieth and Fowler stuff lasted years. It was like 3 years for Spieth, 4 for Ricky, and it was at a certain point you kind of you didn't forget about him, but it was very odd when they just like disappeared off the face of the planet. JT's thing has been going on for a couple of months, and I don't think you certainly cannot pin that narrative on him yet, and I don't think it's going to happen because he's just too good. And maybe it will happen, but I think he's going to make the Ryder Cup team. They're gonna pick him, and he's gonna perform, and he's gonna go crazy. There's gonna be viral clips of him making putts, and people are gonna forget about this 3-month stretch that he's been through.
I totally see both sides. I get that this only comes around every a few times in guys' careers, and guys that are playing to the caliber that they deserve to be in over Justin Thomas's year. I get that people, fans of those guys, and those guys in particular and their families, they're going to be pissed off if Justin Thomas is picked over them. But like I said last week, and like I said the week before, what you've done in the Ryder Cup has to account for something. It can't just be how you're doing leading up to it. That can't be the only like requirement for making the team. Being an all-time Ryder Cup player has to account for way more than people are accounting for. It has to. Or else it's all like for nothing. Like the way you perform in past Ryder Cups, you're basically meaning like that means nothing in the future. I mean, like how you performed in a World Series. Like they do this in every other sport. Guys are better in certain positions, right? Like that's why you're like a closer in baseball. You come in certain positions. Justin Thomas is a closer for the United States Ryder Cup team. They bring him in certain positions, regardless of how he is. They know that he performs in that position well. I don't know why that's so hard to say.
Against all odds, boys, I heard everything that you guys said. I heard every single word. I agree with you. I very much agree with you. Look, I looked it up. Justin Thomas's career record in the Ryder Cup and President's Cups is 16-5-3. He's also 14th in the USA standings for the Ryder Cup. They take 12 players. So it's not like he's 35th in the points and there's a trillion guys. It's like if it just went purely off the points, he would be the second guy out on the points at this point in the entire thing. And like you said, it's not like he's playing horrific. He's not having to take time off of golf. Yes, he posted bad scores in the majors. Yes, he's not even close to where he wanted to be. Yeah, in terms of a 4 or 5 month bad stretch, it's all-time bad stretch for him. But we saw him hit the shots, and I've seen plenty to believe that he can rise to the occasion. And what's really been hurting him is if you looked at the British Open, he made that like 9 on the last hole. He made that like in the format that they're pretty much going to play, JTB and JT and making a bunch of birdies and having these sick eagles and then mixing in the occasional like horrific shot where he hits it out of play or whatever doesn't even fucking matter. You got a partner out there. Who gives a shit? So I think he's an absolute lock. I feel like you guys are probably getting it as well, but the live bots that are literally just robots that you're talking to on Twitter, they love to like troll about the JT thing. And I enjoy thinking about how fired up I get sometimes when a live bot with like a blue check mark trolls me and I want to get upset and tweet back at it. But like I'm just tweeting at an algorithm that is being run by somebody's like robot computer somewhere. And I don't want to be doing that. So I think he's an absolute lock. I think the fact that he said, I want to make the Ryder Cup more than the playoffs, it's really, really messed up thing to say, which it's not a messed up thing to say. I think almost anyone watching agreed with that. You would obviously rather play in the Ryder Cup than make the playoffs for the most part, unless you're like maybe a bottom 3% guy that really needs that money, and that money could be life-changing in the FedEx Cup. But I don't even know that any of those guys would rather play in the FedEx Cup than make the Ryder Cup team. So obviously those things are kind of aligned. JT making the playoffs would have very much increased his chances of making the Ryder Cup team, but I think he's going to be on it anyways. I think at this point, You have to put him on it. As a pure viewer and spectator, I think you have to put him on it. The way that he plays the game, shot shaping, the emotion that he has when he fell down on the 72nd hole, when his ball almost went in, when he hit that rope hook out of there, like all of that stuff is just more fun to watch, and it's more drama. If they just pick some boring guy that goes out there and doesn't really move the needle, but technically on points, or his family's going to be happier and believe that it's more justified. Like that kind of sucks as a viewer. I would way rather just see JT out there. And they haven't won in Europe in 30 fucking years, I believe it is. So they kind of need a lot of juice. You're going to need JT. You're going to need your guy. And if you pick JT and you're Zach Johnson, he goes out there and doesn't bring it, I don't think that's on Zach Johnson. I think like you got to trust your guy that when he retires in 20 years from now or 30 years from now, Justin Thomas will be known as a U.S. Ryder Cup legend. He will be known as one of the guys, probably a top 3 or 5 guy in the history of the U.S. Ryder Cup team, especially from this generation. I mean, Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson aren't even known as good Ryder Cup guys. They got shit records.
No.
JT is going to be one of the main guys when he retires. You cannot go over to Europe 2 years after the biggest win in a long time in the Ryder Cup on U.S. soil, going over there into enemy territory where you've had no success in 3 decades and not bring Justin Thomas. You got to fucking have him.
Agreed.
No doubt. Shout out to Lucas Glover for winning the damn thing. The Wyndham.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice to see that guy get a W. But yeah,
I really want Billy Horschel to win, but
Billy Horschel, yeah, he's been knocking on the door. He's also been going through some struggles with his game. Feels like he's been up and down. He was missing a bunch of cuts, not performing well in majors, and it's nice to see him back. He's got that. Did he still have that gray beard? Did
he's got the beard still.
Yeah, he's got that
salt and
super
pepper.
Nice beard. Yep, salt and pepper. He goes through like he looks like Christian Bale, and he's going through all the Christian Bale characters right now. You know what I mean? I feel like he's going through like Batman Begins, Christian Bale.
Yeah, he does. He's going through these like different looks. I think he looks better with the beard than he does clean shaven.
For sure.
It just looks more, I don't know, prestigious. I don't know if that's the word, but
The Prestige,
I like it.
another Christian Bale movie.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. That's probably why I said that word.
Mm-hmm. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina is the golf capital of the world and was recently voted America's favorite buddies trip destination. If you are looking for a good time golf trip where you will leave with memories that will last a lifetime, Myrtle Beach is that spot. We've been there a lot and we love it. Every single time we've gone there, we have enjoyed ourselves immensely.
Yeah, I love it so much. I want to get a place down there. I don't know if that's even, I don't even know if that's feasible. I don't even know if that's possible, but it's a place that we've gone, that we love. We went with our dads. My dad loved it. I remember sitting on the porch in Myrtle Beach with my dad, and I could just feel that he was like, I want to live here. I want to live here with your mom. I think looking at the ocean every night would be great, but that just shows how great it is. And there's golf courses. There's so many, every type of golf course, for beginners, for pros, for everybody. You go there, you're going to have a good time. Take your buddies down there.
More than 70 golf courses, ranging from high-end top 100 golf courses, which we've played, to wide open, player-friendly courses. Perfect for a laid-back round of golf, which I know that my friends love to be able to do because I have some players that are good players and other players that can barely get the ball off the tee. So they don't like playing too crazy a golf courses. Myrtle Beach has the best for everybody. Whatever your budget is, they've got something for you and your buddies. If you want to plan a golf trip, make sure you visit www.playgolfmyrtlebeach.com. They have all the info on golf packages there, hotels, things to do, all in one convenient place. If you're the person that is actually organizing that buddy's trip, you're eligible to play for free. So be sure to ask one of those package partners for more info when you are planning your golf trip, because you can actually play for free if you're the one that organizes it. If you want to visit Myrtle Beach and win a trip, you got to listen up for this, because we are doing a giveaway with Play Golf Myrtle Beach. All you got to do is go to www.forplaymyrtlebeach.com to enter to win a 3-day, 3-round golf trip for you and your 3 buddies. So that's a 3-day, 3-round golf trip to Myrtle Beach for you and 3 buddies. If you visit forplaymyrtlebeach.com and enter to win, make sure you go to that website right now. You do not want to miss that. That's forplaymyrtlebeach.com. Enter to win that 3-day, 3-round golf trip to Myrtle Beach.
Frankie, speaking of movie, did you saw Oppenheimer?
Oh, I saw Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan, Prestige. So we're just nailing all of the connections right now.
Spoilers.
It was a masterpiece. It definitely was a masterpiece. I wouldn't consider it one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's a little bit too much like you got to pay attention and like love the historical facts of like court cases and like who was trying to screw who over, but it wasn't as like in your face as I needed it to be for me to be like, whoa, like blown away and like on the edge of my seat. I didn't feel like I was on the edge of my seat for like an hour and a half of it. I definitely was into it though. I found everything very interesting. I thought the acting was off the charts. Obviously the big scenes were some of the best big scenes you can ever have in a movie. Like the scenes that they needed to nail, they nailed it. The way that Christopher Nolan like chose to shoot some of those scenes is like beyond my comprehension to even like think to do it that way. Like that stuff where I was literally sitting in the movie theater in an IMAX watching these big scenes and being like, I was saying like, wow, out loud. Like, and people in the movie theater were groaning, being like, oh, like I'd never really heard a theater like that. And this was 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks after the release. So people had heard things about it and you're expecting to get something spoiled of, what it's going to look like. And it just it delivered, man. It's a great movie. It's definitely a little too long. I haven't watched Stephen Che's recap of it yet. Probably should. But yeah, I just thought that I thought there was a lot of it. It was almost like the whole movie was to really just like save Oppenheimer's name. And it was like for the last hour, it was like they were really going to bat for Oppenheimer. And you're just like, all right, I get it. Like I get that like he kind of got screwed and like we've like kind of already gone over that. It just felt like some of the inside baseball stuff was a little too much, but it was good.
You seem underwhelmed. I can feel it.
It's so weird because I was not underwhelmed by any of the stuff I wanted to see. I loved what I went there for like building an atomic bomb movie and I got it. And I was like, okay, that's a fucking unbelievable movie. And then there was all the rest of the stuff where it's like, I get that I should find this stuff interesting, but like, it's not really that great. And then, it definitely picks up towards the end where you're like, oh, it's all starting to make sense. I get why it's all this stuff. It's in different colors and different timelines. And like, you get it at the end, but there's a part, anyone that sees that movie can't say that there's a part of it that's like, all right, this is dragging just slightly. I don't really care about this guy's perspective of the Oppenheimer bomb. You know what I mean? Maybe like a half an hour of it was too much. Just a half an hour.
For me, that's my favorite part of it. Like the building a bomb stuff, like I get it. They built the bomb. I know it. When they do the explosion, like I've seen a mushroom cloud. Like it's cool to see it in theater, obviously. But for me, like I don't go up for that. It's not Fast and the Furious. I don't need all that. For me, like as a history guy, and I love that stuff, like the moral and ethical struggle of like the people that literally built a nuclear bomb and then are figuring out like where they lie morally about the usage of that bomb once like the Nazis are eliminated and if you should use it in Japan and then if they should continue to go on or should you actually use the bomb as a deterrent and try to have like denuclearization. Like to me, that part of it is like that human struggle and that insane like dichotomy for these guys between like they spent years just trying to build the bomb because if the bad guys build the bomb first, like the world's over. Like all the bad guy movies that we watch of Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter, where like if the bad guys win, they're just going to ruin the whole earth. That's like what they were facing in the moment. And they had to build the bomb before the other guys. Otherwise, they're just going to like the worst people ever, just going to run the earth forever. And then all of a sudden those guys are gone. Now we have this thing like we did it. We built it. Like what the fuck do we do with it? And how all of that was manipulated. Like to me, I loved that part. I thought that part was fucking great. I thought it was fascinating. I thought like the whole system and how the system can be used to ruin your reputation and so that other people can elevate themselves. Like I live for that shit. So for me,
okay, so
I part was great.
That the first part you just said, I agree, but that's only like less than a third of the movie. Like the morality of it, where they should do it. The whole, I'd say like more than half of the movie was about Oppenheimer's reputation and was he a spy or not. The hour after the bomb going off being like, was this guy a spy or was he not? And like really, really getting into the nitty gritty of like what party was his wife a part of and like all of that stuff. I just thought that could have been kind of like glanced over. Like, we get it. Like, these guys were trying to ruin his reputation because another guy wanted his reputation, and they were all kind of pissy, and like it was in a backroom closed hearing. Like, we didn't need a backroom closed hearing about if Oppenheimer was a fucking spy for an hour. That's just a little bit too much.
But to me, I love that because that is identical to today, the same shit that goes on. Like when people disagree or people want to like scar other people politically, they don't actually go against their issues or theories. They literally try to ruin their character. And it's amazing to me that like 100 years ago or 80 years ago, they were doing the exact same shit except to the guy that built the nuclear bomb. And like, to me, all of that system and how it unraveled and how it occurred and the fact that they chose to do it not in front of the media and the fact that it was in the back and that like all of that got exposed. And then you in the lens too of like his relationship and like bringing up his conversation with like Albert fucking Einstein to people, like all of that coming together. Like I found that part of it awesome. And I get that like some of the back and forth and court hearings are incredibly boring and all of that, but like tying it all together to me, I was like on the edge of my seat trying to get to that part at the end. Like I loved that part.
I got to see it.
Yeah.
You know, I just haven't seen it. I'm just a third guy on the show that just hasn't seen it. The first two guys have seen it. I have not. And I think none of this will deter me from seeing it. I will say that. I think it's still, I want to see it.
If I had to give it a lights, camera, podcast, Barstool podcast rating, a movierankings.com rating, I would probably say 92 out of 100 or like 91 out of 100.
It's a damn good movie.
I'm not saying that any of this stuff deterred me from thinking it was a fantastic all-time movie. I think it's great. I think it's phenomenal. I left it saying that was an unbelievable movie, lived up to the hype. Just, I would have liked to see, like, there's like parts where they're like, where are we going to drop the bomb? Like, and that was like a 2-second clip. Like, to me, like that part would have been like way more interesting about the morality of why we're going to drop it. Like what happened in Japan after it was dropped. Like, I want to know like how they used like imagery and like beauty to show like how he felt after it, as opposed to like really diving deep into it. You know what I mean? It was like a couple quick scenes about like how he felt. And then you almost had to like look at the way Christopher Nolan shot it to understand how he felt, as opposed to them being like right in your face, being like, this was bad. Like this was like the beginning of the end. You know, like that part I thought should have been an hour's worth of like, how did Germany react when that happened? And like, what kind of conversations were happening around the world as that happened? Instead, it was almost like implied, but then we got like details about if he was a spy or not. So I'm not saying it was bad. I'm saying it was phenomenal. 91.5 out of 100 for me. It's not quite.
It dropped 0.5 in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's not. Well, I didn't know if I said 91 or 92, so I'm going in between. Like I saw La La Land for the first time in a long time the other night, and that's a phenomenal movie. That one is like, you've never seen La La Land. Well, you might not like it.
It's coming from a guy who just saw it.
No, for the first time in a while. I saw it in the movie theaters, but I rewatched it. I remember that being like a top movie for me. Yeah. No, I'm just 91.5 for me.
All right.
There's better. There's better
that's
out
good.
there.
No, that's good. That's a good rating. Obviously I loved it. I feel like you loved it too. Just had some complaints about it, which is totally fair. We're talking, let's keep going on this. At the Wyndham Championship, which I love that event. Talked about it a lot last week, played in the Pro-Am. We shot 13 under in the Pro-Am. Had one of the weirdest rounds of golf probably for a Pro-Am that you could possibly imagine. I mean, I think I made like 5 birdies. I shanked a 7-iron out of bounds. It was crazy. It was a crazy round of golf. Our team was great. We had a really good time. 13 under. I think we finished 2 back from the actual winners. So we were red hot. Fat Perez's team shot 12 under. So we beat their team, which felt really good. Played with 2 guys, Brendan Todd and then Cam Champ. Could not possibly play with 2 different people in terms of their golf games. Both really nice guys. Not a negative word to say about them. Brendan Todd was surprisingly like more chit-chatty and engaging. Cam Champ, he wasn't in any way like standoffish, but he was definitely a little bit quieter, a little bit into his routine. Brendan Todd plays Brendan Todd type golf. We all know it. We see it. He doesn't hit it very far. I think he's like low 280s on driving average or on the PGA Tour, which is very low. Hits it straight, hits it unbelievably consistently, hits it the right distance, makes putts. He finished like tied for 7th or something this last week. Cam Champ plays exactly Cam Champ style golf I've seen. He's one of the longest hitters on planet Earth. The first hole, he hit a drive like 340 uphill into the right side of the fairway. He hit like a wedge to this far from the hole, made birdie, 2 holes later, he like shanked a 6-iron out of bounds on a par 3, made double. And then 2 holes later, he went 3 woods and he hit a 6-iron from 225 yards or something and made eagle. So his game was all over the place. I saw Cam Champ miss the cut. Brendan Todd finished, like I said, I think like top 10 or top 12, somewhere around there. So playing a Pro-Am always fun. Hanging with those guys always fun. But it was wild to see 2 totally different styles of golf. And then, Frankie, I feel like you would really enjoy this, but saw Goo Goo Dolls in concert. I don't know if you're a Goo Goo Dolls fan at all, but I was kind of tweeting about this. I was putting it out. The lead singer is 57 and literally looks and sings like he's 25 years old. It's the most impressive thing I think I've ever seen in my entire life for somebody of his age.
Yeah, I mean, they slap. That's a great band. They got bangers.
Legends.
They're legends. They're one of the best of that era for sure. The Goo Goo Dolls have always been a really, really good band. And his voice is just, I forget his name, but his voice is phenomenal.
John Zesnik or it's a RZ. So I don't know if you say the R or the Z, but it's John RZEZNIK. And I love the Goo Goo Dolls. That was like I was saying, that was like my high school like mixtape kind of band. That like you put a couple of those songs on there. Iris, Better Days, some fantastic jams that they've got. And so you're kind of getting in your feels during the show. But when he came on and he had busted up his foot, so he was in like a boot, and he just sat on one of the boxes that they transport all of their musical equipment and instruments in, and just sat there and belted out these songs for a couple hours. And it was insanely impressive to the point where we were looking at each other like, did they get a new lead singer that's 25 years old and the old guy like a Leonard Skinner situation?
I'm going to have to lose Riggsy here. I don't know how much longer we can go with the in and out. It's not in and out to people listening, though.
No, I know. Yeah, we're giving him runway. He might be gone.
He might be gone. Good luck to whoever's editing this, whether it's Alex Bush or Kyle Timms, because the people can hear it, but we just can't hear it. So if he, like right now, he could be talking in real time. But we're talking.
I don't think
over
so. I think he probably finished his Goo Goo Dolls point and then was gone.
Foreplay is sponsored by BetterHelp. Sometimes we're faced with crossroads in life and we do not know which path to take. Maybe you're thinking about a career change, feeling your relationship needs some TLC, whatever it is, therapy is there and can help you to map out your future and trust yourself to find your way forward. If you're ever going through a tough time, I know that we all on the internet and internet lives, we go through a lot of ups and downs, Trent, where it comes, some scary times, some dark times where people are being mean to us or they don't like us. And you really have to be able to take a lot of the punches. And sometimes that becomes a lot where you don't know how to cope with it and you're not really doing any positive thinking. So for us, something like BetterHelp really does help the fact that it's there for us if you ever experience any major trauma or you're having trouble setting boundaries or coping with all of these things on the internet. For us in particular, it's huge. So if you are thinking about starting therapy, you should give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge if you feel like you do not like the one that you were matched with. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Fore, Fore, today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Fore. And that's 10% off your first month of BetterHelp. We were watching some home videos at my parents' house last night, and I was watching, my dad used to put on, so my mom would go to work. I guess she would go to Borelli's. My dad would come home and he would basically like just film my sisters like doing concerts in the house 24/7 essentially. And like there was one yesterday where they were dancing to like Michael Jackson, Black or White, the song there. And they, and in the background was MTV. And I was like, and I'm watching, like they're watching the Michael Jackson music video and they're dancing to it. They got the hat and they're doing the whole thing. And I'm like, was that like on MTV at that moment? Like to me, that was such a crazy, like you see such an all time, like you see the MTV logo, it's on an old school TV. And I'm thinking like, that just, and this is the dumbest thing I ever said. Like, obviously that just happened live, but to me, that's so retro and like nostalgic. I'm looking at my sisters being like, what an amazing time you guys grew up in, that like MTV was like legitimately music videos would come out. And like, that's how you saw the music video and heard a new song, was like, you turned on MTV and whatever that number one new song was, that was it. And they were dancing to it. Like, to us, it's everything's so accessible now. Songs come out on New Music Friday on Spotify, and like you have to go and listen for like an hour to listen to a new song that you like. There's just so much, almost too much, where it's like not that big moment anymore. I don't even listen to the radio. I don't even know what number one in the radio is anymore.
I caught the tail end of MTV still playing music videos. I vividly remember that. Like, I remember like when Into Club 50 Cent came out, you would watch the Hummer drive up the road and it was like, oh, they're playing it. TRL was a huge deal. NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, like that was my era. And it was,
you were watching MTV like live, like you would put on channel whatever it was, 53 or whatever, and you would be sitting there
27.
You'd be sitting there watching it and hoping that like your favorite song came on next.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Oh yeah. And TRL was obviously a countdown, and you would want to see what's number one this week. Back then, it was always like NSYNC or Backstreet, or Eminem was huge back then. Like, yeah, you would sit around and wait. And there was one
channel. And it can't
get
spoiled.
No, there's no way to spoil
Twitter
it.
First. No one's reading it to you.
Twitter was even a twinkle in the internet's eye at that point.
Right.
So, yeah, no, you're just watching Carson Daly, who we've had on the show, and I was like legit starstruck when we had him on because he's a huge part of my childhood. And it was just, yeah, you would watch, and it seems silly now because, like you said, everything is so accessible. I can literally look at my phone and watch any music video that's ever been made. But back then, you would just sit there and be like, what's going to be number one? Oh, did so-and-so get knocked off? What's the new music video? And back then, acts would put actual thought and money into music videos. Some guys still do it now, but it's more of like, it's like a retro thing. But back then, music videos and them becoming popular and them being cool and looking cool was a way to gain popularity because it would be on a show like TRL and be like, oh, I want to see that new Eminem video. Oh, I want to see that new, Nelly video. The world is so much different, and it's just not like that.
How do we get back to that? How do we get moments?
Impossible.
How do you get moments where it's like the only time you can see something? Is it just sports? Is sports the only thing we have left where it's like the ending isn't spoiled, or like the moment that you're waiting for, you don't know what's happening until it happens? I feel like even if you watch an award show, the Oscars, they tweet out every single winner beforehand, right? Like, I mean, only like my dad's era would like sit down and watch an award show and not know who's probably going to win based off of odds from a sports book or whatever. Like, you just know what's going to happen that night. There's really no like surprise or like your favorite thing. You're like waiting for it to pop. I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example. Like, I don't even know if I live my life in any way except for sports where I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen tonight with my favorite thing. You know what I mean? Like,
well, what's happened with the internet, what's happened with streaming is a lot of fragmentation where there's so many different fan bases for like niche things. Like, with streaming now, they drop an entire season, so not everyone's watching it at the same time. That was a big part of it. And Game of Thrones was huge, probably the last big one where you are being forced to sit down on a Sunday night with the rest of the world and watch it.
Yep. That was very much like 100%. What I'm talking about.
Right, but now with streaming, when you drop like 8 episodes all at once, everyone is watching them at different times. So when you're having conversations with people on the street or with your buddies, you're like, what episode are you up to? It's not, holy shit, what happened in episode 7. It's, I don't want to talk about the show if you haven't watched the whole thing. Now it's you can still have that. Like if HBO came out with a new show that just grabbed all of society and was like, you have to watch this, I think that's still possible. I still think there can be a popular big Sunday night show that comes out once a week and we all watch it. It just doesn't exist right now. It was Sopranos when I was in high school. Everyone watched the finale of that show. Everybody. And if you weren't watching it, you were a loser. Game of Thrones was that way. Obviously, that was the biggest show that ever came out. And every Sunday night, if you didn't watch, you got it spoiled on Twitter. So it forced you to watch it that night. Yeah. That show just doesn't exist right now. It's something, you know what it is? It might be something like Oppenheimer or Barbie, where you got to watch it. Everyone has to go to the movie theater. If you want to be in on the conversations about it, like I was just sitting on the sidelines for the last 20 minutes because I haven't seen Oppenheimer. But if you want to be in those conversations, you have to go watch it.
Yeah. I guess in retrospect, what I said was pretty stupid. Like, there's definitely still moments. It's TV shows, it's movies, it's when
It's
your
different,
favorite
though.
band puts out an album that you're waiting for. Like, I was waiting for the fucking Foo Fighters album, but it's just different. It's like, I guess the simplicity of like sitting down and watching a channel that everyone's watching to see what is number one for that week. That part to me is like gone. Like, the rankings of things is like done. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
because it's all just on Twitter. Like, I don't. Yeah, I wish that we could go back to that, because I'd like to experience that of being like arguing with my buddies, being like, this has to be the number one song this week. There's no way it's not. And then everyone's sitting around on like Sunday night trying to see like, what's Carson Daly tonight going to say, like, is the number one song in the country. Like, we just don't have that at all. It's just, it's a tweet. It's a fart now. It's not a moment. Nothing's a moment anymore. Everything's so fucking fast.
I agree with you. You look at it and everything is better, quote unquote. Like, everything's more accessible. I have every single phone or every single song that's ever been made on my phone. You would think, like, when we're back in the times that we're talking about, you'd be like, oh, I want to go there. And then when you get there, you do lose the moments of, like, when an album used to come out, I would have to go to Sam Goody and buy it and unwrap it and put it in my car. And even I didn't have a CD player in my car.
Which is worse for lifestyle. You got to get in your car, you got to drive there, you got to buy it, you got to come back. But it's so much better in enjoyment. You're working for it. You're grinding for it. You're like, it's all you're thinking about. You're driving there to get a record, and you're coming back and you're like, I'm going to play this thing and I'm going to listen to the new songs. I haven't heard snippets of it on their Instagram. I haven't heard tracks that have been released early on like SoundCloud. I'm like, I don't know anything about my favorite new CD. I'm going to put it in this little CD player and we're just going to listen to it. That's so cool to me.
You do lose that. As
like, you want to see you want to see a titty now? You go on Google, you just type in titty.
I'll look at a titty right now.
And I can look at a titty right now. No problem. No questions asked. You know how hard you probably had to work for to see a titty back in the day? You had to like go to the store and buy a titty. You had to buy buy a magazine and sneaky like look at it in your car or something.
Dude,
now
I remember
like, I'll fucking look at a titty right now.
Dude, I remember when I came up like around LimeWire and Napster and those you would download songs and stuff, but you could also, but you could also download porn. And what I would do is I would start downloading a porn before school, and then I would go to school and come back, and it would still only be like 75% downloaded, but you could preview it and watch however much has been downloaded. That's how hot, but it felt like it meant more. You're meant
sitting
more.
In school being like, come on, gotta get home.
That reverse cowgirl is downloading right now. And I would get home and I would get to enjoy it. But it's all part of it's all part of the same thing what we're talking about. Like, the accessibility of everything all at once takes away some of the magic. And there's no going back to the old times, because people wouldn't want to be back there, because people do want, I want it now. And now that people have gotten a taste of it and have gotten used to it, that's what it is going to be until the sun explodes.
You know what makes me sad too is you watch home movies, and we basically film everything with our phones. You go to any single sport event, we film it with our phone, and everyone's doing it because you want that video, you want that memory. And I don't get on people or like, I think that's fine to be able to like want to have the moment and show that you were there. It's like the reason we do anything is to like show people and make people jealous. It's really like what Instagram is to be like, I'm here, here's my photo, and like you're not here. That's like the only reason it's so successful. So I don't really get on people for doing that too much, but the thing that we lost with that is like, you go back and watch these home videos, and like my dad's sitting there, or like my aunt in this last one we were watching was just like filming the whole birthday party. Right. And like, they're passing around so you're seeing like everything. They're zooming in on uncles' faces and cousins' faces, and they're like watching everything. There's no like little snippets. There's no photos. There's no like 7-second videos. It's the whole party. They have a thing of my second birthday party. It's the whole thing from beginning to end. They're just passing around the camera, and people are just filming for like 13 straight minutes. And you get to sit there and really be in the moment. Like 30 years later, you get to be in the moment and be like, oh my God, there's grandpa. And like, you're just watching him just like live there, sitting there eating. We don't have that anymore. Like, no one's doing long form video like that on their phone. Everything's like quick pictures and like panoramas and portrait modes. Everything's like high quality and quick, and obviously like TikTok's like 7 seconds and 18, like quicker the better. We don't have that like long form, like home movies are not a thing anymore. Like
No.
when I have kids, it's going to be a bunch of like photos on my camera roll. Unless I legit like bring back the camcorder days. Like that's what I might do. I might just like do that.
So you see people like, I think Hank around the office before everybody moved, he would bring like an old camera in and take pictures, and the pictures look incredible.
Yeah.
Like it's just, now everything is 4K HD. When you take a picture on your phone, you're like, whatever. But when something about that old nostalgia feel, you should bring back the camcorder.
I think people listening, and I'm sure people do it, I think we should bring back camcorders for like families and birthday parties. Because when you get older, it's great for your kids and your grandkids to be able to sit there and watch. It doesn't like hit the same on the phone. Like you show someone a picture on your phone, you look at this and you're like, oh, okay, that's awesome.
Cool.
Wow. You see it on Facebook. It's not like, let's sit down and watch your second birthday party. Like that to me was so crazy. Like my mind was blown. I'm like, look at you guys. My dad's like young and fucking, he's got like his hair slicked back. They're all me in the pool. I'm like, if you sent me a photo of that, I'd just look at it for a second and be like, oh, it's a nice memory. But I was like living it. I think parents listening to this right now should go get an old school camcorder and a bunch of tape and just start filming these things, man. Just film for like forever. And then you're going to have it forever. You're going to be able to live in that living room that you were filming in. You'll be able, in 20 years, you'll be able to go right back. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of messages being like, dude, I do this. Like, I am sick of like doing these quick snippets. I wanted long form memories. Bring back long form memories.
Well, the thing too with the camcorders, when like your parents were using them, that was new technology. They're like, this is awesome. Like, let's film everything. Now we have the ability to film everything, but we don't film it for the right reason. It's it's very strange. But like I went to
my camera roll. It's just a bunch of like we were at the pickleball event, and I have like 9 6-second videos of things I'll never watch again. Like it was an amazing event. We'll get into it, but like it's not there. I can't even like process what that was when I'm looking at this. It's just a million pictures and video. It's nothing is of substance.
Well, I've been trying to. So I went to a couple concerts recently. I went to Billy Strings. I went to Tyler Childers.
You Tyler fucking Childers.
Bro.
I didn't even know he was playing in New York City.
I didn't know he was playing. And then tickets appeared and I was like, I'm going to that.
Wow.
I'm going to that on Thursday. And I went and it was fantastic. I've been wanting to go to a Tyler Childers concert for years now. I got into him like post-pandemic. Him, Sturgill Simpson, like they like opened my music brain. And I wanted to see Tyler Childers, and he was playing at Radio City Music Hall, a place I'd never been before. So I got to see Childers at Radio City Music Hall, and I didn't take one video. I took a couple of pictures, but those videos that you take on your phone for a concert, I don't know what people do with them. I definitely don't go back and watch them. I would prefer to just sit there and enjoy the music, and then that's the memory that I have. When you look at it on your phone, the sound is not nearly the same. It's just not. So I didn't want to do that. Took a couple pictures, bragged to people on Instagram that I was there, and then I sat there and I watched it, and boy, can that motherfucker sing, man. God. Just fills the entire room. Immediately he sits down and just belts, and it was one of the best concerts I've ever been to.
Damn.
I was like got chills the whole time. The first 2 songs, after he got done, he played 2 acoustic songs to start the show, and I just said to myself, I'm having the best fucking time.
Fuck, dude.
The way that guy can sing, it's just unlike anything I've ever heard before. So that was an amazing experience, and I have no videos on my phone of it because I didn't want them, and it was just a memory that I have in my brain now.
It's amazing. It's amazing. No, it's something that like our generation's going to have to really fight through. It's not going to get any easier. Everything's going to get
worse.
Way, way worse when it comes to just quick, accessible, like, go to these events, but really just take like capture it electronically as opposed to with like your actual emotions and your brain. That's what it's going to turn into. Like, I mean, we're already seeing it. Apple's coming out with all these Vision Pro, whatever, and they're going to want us going there to these events with basically goggles on that's going to film the whole entire thing. And like that, I guess, will be our long form memories to be able to look back and see, being like, look at what my actual eyes were looking at.
But which
I guess could be cool. I don't know.
No, maybe, but there's still nothing like going and seeing it in person. If you just fucking sit there, and again, I sound like I'm 100 years old, but I still took pictures. I was like, look, I'm outside Radio City Music Hall. Look, I'm in the theater. But then once it starts, I just sat there and stood there. And I was like, just fucking let it hit you in the face. Let that music hit you in the face. Don't let it hit your phone and then hit your face. Just let it fucking smack you right in the face. And that's still the best way.
We did that with my wedding. We made my dad put his phone like basically in a locker because at my sister and brother-in-law's wedding, he is in every single picture with a big flash and his phone. And I'm like, Dad, you're not even, he does go back and watch the videos. He sits there and watches the videos for like all night. And he's like, I'm getting better videos than the videographer, blah, 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 whatever he says. But it's like experience it. So he experienced our wedding, thankfully, where he was like present and like not filming. But yeah, no, it's an interesting conversation because it's an obvious one, and it's a fight that I guess the older generation's been trying to fight for a long time. And I just think that we should try and include it a little bit and like not forget about it. You know what I mean? It's something. It's like it's a memory art form almost, where you're really, really showing like what was happening at that time, as opposed to these quick snippets that I do like. I like taking photos. I like taking quick videos. I get it. I'm a part of this new generation. I think it's all good and well. And I watch fucking Instagram reels and TikToks all night. I understand that it's addicting, but like we still can have a little part of what made our childhood so great. I think like watching those home videos is awesome. And I think that this generation should have that also. I don't think that we should stop that.
We're kind of dealing with competing ideas though, because what I'm saying is don't film anything, and what you're saying is film everything.
But like don't film anything. Like I get like a performance is one thing. Like I do think you should be present for it, but I just think like because like you're not going to go back, and I guess you could go back in 30, 40 years and watch that concert and like go back to that time. Like if you sat there and filmed the whole entire thing.
But this phone's going to die. The iPhone 28 is going to come out, and that stuff's just going to go away. I don't know what the cloud is. I don't use it. And it's just like that stuff's gone forever.
Home videos is really what I'm talking about, where it's like figure out how to capture exactly what was happening at those parties, at those big celebrations. Don't just resort to like the quick photos and like an Instagram filter and like a Snapchat filter. Don't put grandpa in like a baby Snapchat filter face and be like, that was it. You know what I mean?
Dude, there is something really cool about people passing a camera around, because you're getting all these different angles. Like
it gave me the chills. I was like, holy shit.
That I like. The individualized, like we all have our own phones now. We're all holding a camera.
Yes.
So we all are just sort of like looking at something, but having something that then you pass to your uncle, you pass to your cousin.
And then you saw who was holding it and they're like, hi.
That's pretty cool.
Holy shit.
That's pretty cool.
It was cool, man. I'm definitely going to do that. Like, I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start I'm going to be like Christopher Nolan walking around here. Or what's the movie I just it wasn't Christopher Nolan. It was Spielberg, his new movie about like himself.
Oh, what's that called?
The Fablemans.
Fablemans.
Where he's walking around his house and he's like filming the whole entire house. Whatever. The gift that's changing the game. Level up your gift giving with a Lightbox lab-grown diamond.
Ooh.
You can buy set jewelry from lightboxjewelry.com, or you can buy loose lab-grown diamond ready for your giftee, set how they like, or create a piece together. Lightbox not only has stones they'll love, but pricing that you'll actually understand. Stunning loose stones with transparent pricing and fantastic value for the quality of stone. Lightbox have leveled up lab-grown diamonds, combining innovation with lab-grown diamond quality that has to be seen to be believed. This is an amazing product because the diamond game is hard. You don't know why things are being priced a certain way. It's based off just whatever the appraiser gives you. And now with Lightbox lab-grown diamonds, they meet all of these stunning standards and they have the same transparent pricing as everything that you would ever want. It's as simple as that. Lightbox has changed the game. What you see is what you get. And what you get is ready to take to a jeweler for a stunning custom piece like a necklace, pair of earrings, or a ring. Score major points with the perfect gift. Imagine giving your loved one a stunning stone and then the freedom to set it however they would want. You can let their creativity or specific taste shine. A lot of people think that custom jewelry is out of their reach, but Lightbox's easy approach to buying stones means that you can shop for a great value, great quality lab-grown diamond, and have it express shipped ready to take to a jeweler. Take 10% off right now when you shop at lightboxjewelry.com using code 4playpod10. So if you're in the market for wanting to get one of these, I'm telling you right now, you have to go to lightboxjewelry.com and use the code 4playpod10 to take 10% off when you shop at lightboxjewelry.com. Pickleball, we had a successful first event. I want to give a shout out to Pickle and Par in Smithtown. They also have a location in Melville. If you're
They
in
sure
the Long
do.
Island area, you got to go to Pickle and Par. Trent, this is your first time ever seeing a facility like this. Immaculate indoor 9-court, perfect lighting, lounge area, locker rooms, perfect courts, tight nets. I mean, what did you think of seeing like this? It's a new wave of sport. I get that there's tennis people that don't like it. I get that everyone thinks it's like a pussy sport, whatever you're going to call it. It's electric when you're there.
Well, I was lucky enough to see both Pickle and Par locations because I went to the wrong one in the morning. I thought there was only one location on Long Island. I just put in Pickle and Par into my Google Maps in the morning. I was like, that has to be the one. Nope. And I went to the wrong one. So that facility is also beautiful. And then the one that the Pickleball Open was at was incredible. I didn't even know that places like this existed already. Like I had heard from other people that most pickleball places right now are a little limited in seating. Like there's courts popping up everywhere, but a place where you can actually kind of sit and watch and observe the people playing. The Pickle and Par that you had the Open at was perfect for that. And yeah, there were a bunch of courts. Everybody had a good time. There's golf simulators there. There's all this different stuff. And the first Pickleball Open I thought was a major success. Everybody had a good time. Everything moved very smoothly. There was an opening wave in the morning and then a later wave in the afternoon, and everything was pretty seamless. Big Rob did a great job. You did a great job. The event staff here at Barstool who helped with the Classic a ton, they did a great job with the signage and the food that was there. Your dad came out with the Borelli's pizza truck, and there was, what was the barbecue place?
Smoking barbecue.
Yeah, they were out front slinging food for people in between games. And the cool thing I thought was people will bring their families to watch them play pickleball. Like there was a legit crowd there watching these guys play. And yeah, it was my first experience really watching pickleball, watching competitive pickleball. And it was super interesting and really fun.
Yeah, it was definitely our twist on a pickleball tournament. I been to a couple. My friends have all been to a bunch. Big Rob's deep in the pickleball game. My buddy Kyle, Nick, they all play like crazy. So they've been pushing me to do this. And we were nervous about your first event with something like this, whether it's tennis or pickleball, whenever you have a sport where you're trying to do like a round robin matches and make sure that everyone gets enough games in. Going into an event like that, you're kind of nervous about scheduling and pace of play. And at a lot of these pickleball events, guys are sitting around for 30, 40 minutes, sometimes to an hour without playing a game. One of our things that we really wanted to make sure was like, all right, in this morning wave, we've got 80 players in the morning wave. Each team is playing 5 games in their pool, and then they'll advance to a playoffs, and then it'll be single elimination. And that was the best part, is everyone was playing constantly. I think at one point someone came up to us like, hey, we haven't played in like 25 minutes, just letting you know, like, this game's taken a while. So like if we can hop on there next, and we accommodated them. We're like, all right, we'll skip this team that just got off. But Big Rob, he's been like a hilarious character in the Barstool world, especially on this podcast, where I didn't know how he was going to handle all of this, and he fucking nailed it. He knocked it out of the park. Big Rob had the schedule down, all the scoring, point differential for the playoffs. Everyone knew where they were going. You know, Pool A and Pool B were on court 1 and 2, and he had the whole entire thing. He nailed it. It was seamless. People are coming out to me saying they've played in pickleball events for the last 2-3 years. Never have they played in one like this. And for us to get that kind of compliment in our first try with limited funds and all of that stuff, it was kind of like a proof of concept. I could not be more excited. Franklin was on board. They brought all their new pickleball paddles, and the signage there was incredible. So we're hoping to expand this thing. We have 2 more locations that we're signing contracts with, hopefully in the next week or so. So those will be announced fairly soon. But if you're trying to keep your schedules open on the East Coast, I would say late October, early November, to try and make sure that you don't have anything big planned if you're trying to play in this event. We had people fly in from all over the place, Detroit, Texas, it was Philadelphia. Everyone was traveling to this one pickleball event. And then the biggest takeaway for me was the morning wave was like the 3.0 to 3.5 skill level. Then we had lunch. Then the 4.0 plus people started coming. And in future events, we're going to have like a 4.0 and a 4.5 division. So it's not all bottled together. But these better players, man, the difference in like attitude towards us and each other and just general competitiveness ramped up by 1,000,000 in the second wave. Dude. People started giving us attitude at the scoring table. Arguments were being had at the net. I mean, people wanted to win, and you can tell the better the player, the more competitive it got, and it was competitive. Yes, we had our music going. Yes, we had food. We had drinks. It was a Barstool Pickleball event. We definitely Barstooled it, just like we did with the Barstool Classic, where it's a golf event. There's really good golfers. They're on their way to go to a championship, but for the people that aren't that good, we have a lot of fun. Also, it's more for the every man, every woman type sport. This really got out of hand at one point where it's like, I loved it. It was blood. They wanted blood, screaming after every point. The music's blasting. We're playing the Chicago Bulls theme song for the championship. It was fucking intense.
Yeah, the first wave of people happy to be there on a Saturday morning, just kind of want to get out, get a little bit of exercise.
72-year-old woman made it to the championship in the morning.
She's a star. She was so good. I mean, moving around great. Stuck around afterwards and played more games on a court that was on the other side. She's a beast. But yeah, the morning wave is just people who want to get out and have fun with their friends. The second wave was my favorite part because it's a whole different beast. Guys, like Frankie said, complaining about out of bounds. One of the matches you had to have a guy stand on the side and monitor whether balls were going in and out because the two teams were arguing about whether a ball was
you're hooking me on calls. Can we get someone over here? I'm getting hooked on calls over here.
Dude, and then the best part, my favorite part of the day was when two of the teams were about to play, I think in a semifinals match or maybe the championship match. I can't remember. But they got to the court and they were looking up and I was like, what are they looking at? And then they went to Frankie and they said, I think the lighting on that court is wrong. And we're like, dude, the lighting has been the same on that court all day long. It's the same for everybody. But
it's the championship court. It's the number one court.
It's the best court that was there. And they looked up at the lights, both teams, and they agreed with each other. I think the lighting is off in this court. And that's what you get at a competitive pickleball event. And I fucking loved it. The characters that were at that event were amazing, I thought.
I think it set a perfect blueprint for what we're trying to accomplish in the future events. Is we're going to have all day events, all different skill levels, different waves. So we'll have open play for anyone that just wants to come with their girlfriend or their wife and you just want to play on an open court. The more courts we get at these facilities, the more options we'll have. So we're trying to turn it into a thing where it's there'll be different levels. Maybe we'll charge a certain amount of money where you can just come, you'll get food, you'll get drinks, and you can just play on an open court and no one's going to care about how you're actually playing, right? It's just you get those dedicated courts to maybe 20 people, you guys can play games. And then there's going to be 10 courts for 3.0 to 3.5 players. And it's going to be competitive. And then later on in the night, we're going to get the greatest players in the country to come. And it's going to be a full day of all skill level pickleball. So keep your eyes and ears open and peeled because we are announcing more events. This one sold out in 12 seconds. So the next one should follow suit, and I just want to make sure everyone watches out for that. So I'll be making those announcements hopefully pretty soon.
Yeah, man, it's great. I think this is kind of your baby. You and Big Rob have been working hard on it, and I think the first one was a huge success, and I think people were very thrilled.
Yes, very, very excited and excited to watch it grow. The second thing I want to say is on Wednesday, we have a new video coming out. That is the alternate shot match in Minnesota. We had Kyle Rudolph playing with Vinny Lettieri, and we also had Baldick from the Minnesota Wild, which he's a stick, an absolute stick, and then myself. So we did an alternate match, super fun, really good video on YouTube on Wednesday, so make sure you watch that. I love alternate shot matches. They just produce really, really high intensity and good quality content. So that's a great video on our YouTube, and we have way more videos coming out. We've got a couple more Barstool Golfs coming out. We're going to be filming a Breaking 90 that's going to be coming out. We've got Riggs playing 18 holes coming out. He played at WecoPod just as an update on his game, where his handicap is at. You can watch every single shot that Riggs takes, which people have been asking for. We got a lot of side gig with Danny Rappaport and Blake Griffin. I don't even know if we've announced that.
No, 9 at mine.
I'm sorry. 9 at mine. He's got so many damn new series now. 9 at mine, where he goes to Blake Griffin's home course and just plays with him and interviews him basically. And Blake Griffin, obviously, huge star, and Danny's best friend. Brendan Jones came back to me. He's like, it's crazy how close Blake Griffin and Danny Rappaport are. He loves him.
That's wild.
Nuts. We've looked up how much money he accumulated over his life. It's insane.
Oh,
we're talking about Blake Griffin, not Danny.
Yeah,
which I'm sure at some point we can talk about Danny.
I think Blake Griffin made $285 million in his NBA career, And that's just on court. That's a guy who had sponsorships like crazy too. So that's a very rich man we're talking about.
Speaking of rich men, I teased that I was playing that golf course on Long
Oh
Island.
yeah,
Dude.
I forgot about that.
Hard to describe with words. I wish I had a camcorder. I wish I could just film the entire experience like a whole movie. It's this place called Schoenfeld. They call it Shoney Hills. It's a backyard golf course here on Long Island, right behind, or kind of in the Old Westbury area. I tweeted about it. Gates to get in. Guy knew our name walking in at the gate. Gates open, and you're just at a golf course. That's my biggest takeaway. Is like you're driving up to this house, and it's like a 10-minute drive to go through the driveway, but you're driving through a golf course. It's a golf course with a house on it. It's not a house with a backyard golf course. It's a Reese Jones 9-hole 13 tee box across fairways. You're hitting over greens to get into fairways. It felt like Augusta and Ohoopee mixed, all conjoining fairways and ponds and bridges. I'm looking at it now that I own a house. I'm like, I can have an appreciation for like what it costs to put flowers in and hedges and like new stonework and like pavers. I'm looking at this guy had like 3 bridges over man-made rivers, and I'm looking at the stonework. I'm like, that's a $500,000 bridge, maybe $1 million bridge. It was like 9 pillars long with like water running through them. It was insane. The house was phenomenal. Cobblestone driveway. The whole house was like a square going around it. Bentleys and Range Rovers and everything was insane. And golf carts with it was convertible golf carts with music in them, and the golf course has like 19 employees that's working on it, and there's no rakes because who else is playing the golf course? It's just
True.
Once you're done, they're going to go rake the bunker because he's playing it tomorrow morning. It's his own backyard. It's stunning. It's a stunning golf course. The first hole is like this par 4. You can see Connecticut in the distance because it's so elevated and it's got all this undulation. And the first green has a hill on it that looks like Augusta, like massive 20-foot swaling hill that goes down to this green, perfectly perched in the back right. The place legit looks like Augusta. They told us a story like Kuchar had just played there and he stayed at the estate, and he's like, this place is Augusta National Junior. Like, it looks just like it, plays just like it. The fairways feel just like it. Spongy, never had a divot on the green, never had a divot in the fairway, never had a ball marking on the green. It's just one guy that plays every single day. It's legitimately the craziest round of golf I'll ever play in my entire life. And we've played hell of a list of golf courses. We've played Shinnecock. We've played Pebble Beach. We've done it all. I'll never have an experience like this again. So shout out to them. Shout out to that estate. It was legitimately, it was the most fun I've ever had playing golf. We were laughing the whole entire time.
You have to be.
You step up to these tee boxes and you're like, there's no way this is this guy's backyard. Like it's I don't even know how to describe it. I'm trying my best. Like Trent, like this, like I'm gonna show you, like this was like a hole.
That's so crazy. That's
like,
a golf course.
Look at that place.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Did you meet the guy?
He was like leaving quickly and he had to go. Someone asked him if he could come say hi. He said no because he was like rushing.
I love
his
that.
Car and he had to go. But like, look at these conjoining fairways. Like it's Augusta, dude.
How many acres does he have back there?
Oh, the most acres.
And that, dude, we're talking about land that is some of the most expensive land on the planet.
I don't even want to know the property taxes. I don't even want to know. New York is so expensive. The property taxes are so expensive here. Imagine having a golf course with no members that can pay the fees, right? Like usually these expensive golf courses have members paying like $500 million initiation and all this stuff. He's got his own.
It's one thing to build a golf course in your backyard, and that costs a certain amount. Obviously, you need land, you need people to do it, blah, blah, blah. But then to keep it and maintain it and have it playable and have it be in your backyard and have it be on fucking Long Island, like that, the cost of that is, it's a number that is almost like, how much money can this person have to have that be a functioning golf course? That's insane.
It's insane. And it's one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. And it's classy and it's not and clearly like they're not throwing it in people's faces. Like
No.
I've been flying over this place going to JFK forever, never even knew that I could maybe get on the grounds, and like they couldn't have been more accommodating and nice, and they're down to earth. He's like the busiest guy ever. He's like flying around, driving around. He did wave to us, but he's like, I gotta go. Like he was on the other side of the driveway is like a football field. So he didn't even really see who we were. We could have been anybody. So yeah, it was an amazing experience. And I was blown away at just like how successful people can end up being. And like when you have, this is a dream. Like people can't even dream this up. Actually, you can't even dream up having that type of golf course in your backyard where you step out in your backyard, you step up to the first tee and you get to go play that course every single day. And for me, it was like the coolest golf experience I've ever had in my entire life. I couldn't even process it.
Did you have to sign anything? Are you not allowed to post? Like, do they say anything like that
No,
to you?
I want the thing is like it's his home, so it's like you have to be somewhat respectful. That's
Definitely.
the hardest part. Is like I wasn't going to post all these videos and pictures of the house and all of that. It's like
No,
it's one thing if that's a clubhouse. It's one thing if that's a clubhouse. It's another thing. It's his literal home where his family lives. So it's like it's bizarre, and it's an experience like no other. But no, they didn't. They were normal people. It was insane. Completely normal people that just loved golf and loved having us out there, and like was like, oh, bring Trent and let's go play. Like they loved it.
I love the mystery of it. I love that you didn't really get to meet the guy. I think that's my favorite part. Him just sort of like waving, still a mysterious figure who just he's got to be busy if he's got a place like that. He has to be constantly doing
the greatest gin rummy player of all time. Like he could like competitively play gin with like anybody. And I guess it's like a big mind game. Like I've never really played. I know that you have to like know how many cards are out there and make sure like if you're putting down a 7, no one else has the possibility of picking up a 7 because you could lose. So it's like a real brain game.
Oof.
Similar to chess, where it's like you have to be playing moves and strategically moving around with your cards. And apparently he can like win any game ever. Like he'll win like 90% of the games he plays because he's just like a beautiful mind.
Wow.
So yeah, incredible. I played great too. Like we played 18 holes. So you basically do the 9 and then you have lunch and then you do the 9 again.
Yeah.
But you do it from like different tee boxes. So you get to see the holes again. And it's like, you're like, oh, we're about to tack this green. And I know exactly what this green does. I can hit it in the back shelf and come back. So the front, I think I shot like a 42 because I bogeyed coming in 7, 8, and 9. And then the back, I shot a 39. So I ended up shooting like an 81.
Yeah.
First time around this place. I was making putts with that new flat stick TP reserve putter. I haven't done that on video yet, I don't think, but I've ditched my Spider. I've had it for 3 years, the Spider GT, the Islander colored one. And I just am like, I'm not hitting putts the way I want to hit them. So I moved over to the Blade for the first time in like 5 or 6 years. And it's the new TaylorMade TP Reserve. And I am absolutely flagging these putts, man. Anything from like 5 feet and in, I feel like it's an automatic right now. I just mentally, I'm like, I'm there.
I mean, that was the weakest part of your game, and the other parts of your game are incredibly strong. If you clean up the putting, dude, you're going to be in the 70s constantly.
Yeah, it's been feeling really good. So just an amazing day, an amazing experience. Today's episode is brought to you by Whoop, the official fitness wearable of the PGA and LPGA tours and the Foreplay podcast. We've all got our Whoops on. We love them. We absolutely love them. I'm on quite the streak when it comes to my recovery and sleep. I don't think that I've had a day under 100% sleep for the last 2 or 3 weeks.
That's incredible.
Just knocking out the 7.5 hours that's telling me to get. I'm not really waking up in the middle of the night. I haven't gone to the bathroom in the middle of the night in forever. Maybe I'm not. Yeah, I'm just sleeping.
I wish I could say the same, and my sleep's been pretty good too, but I always have the one time in the middle of the night, and my Whoop will show me the next morning, I got up at 3:18 in the morning because I had to go take a piss. But outside of that, my sleep has been great, and it's all just because of the Whoop. And when you're on a streak like you're on, you don't want to ruin it. So it makes you think like, all right, let me go to bed at a good time. Let me get up at a good time because I've got a good streak going. It's a fun thing to wear because you track everything that you do.
Whoop is a sleek, screenless wearable that tracks your sleep, strain, recovery, stress, and more to provide you with personalized insights that help you reach your goals. Whether you're obsessed with squeezing out a little bit more effort in the gym, shoot your lowest score on the golf course, or get those extra hours of sleep a week, Whoop helps you build better habits and make you healthier and have healthier choices. With a brand new feature like Strength Trainer and the Stress Monitor, you can finally track the intensity of your weightlifting or manage your stress levels with a real-time stress score and science-backed breath work. I'm telling you right now, that is a game changer. As you're working out, I worked out with Francis in Chicago. It was amazing to see him really show me how that Strength Trainer and Stress Monitor works while you're working out. It tracks how intense your weightlifting is and allows you to know, like, all right, you're taking too much time in between sets. Let's go. Let's get back into it because your heart rate is at peak levels to make sure that you're burning the most calories. So go to join.whoop.com/Fore, Fore, to get your 1 month free trial on Whoop and unlock the best version of yourself. That's join.whoop.com/Fore for a 1 month free trial on Whoop. Bryson DeChambeau shot a 58 at the Greenbrier. Wow. I mean, that is some golf. I saw a tweet that said that if you place the average golfer on the green in regulation on every single hole from 8 feet, they wouldn't break 58. I guess like whatever the putting statistics are from 8 feet, the odds of them shooting a 58 are worse than what Bryson DeChambeau did.
Yeah, man, it's one of the more impressive things you're ever going to see. Like, and he made a bomb putt to shoot 58, won the tournament.
An amazing celebration.
Yeah.
Phil Mickelson jumping up in the air. He got up like 85 feet. I've seen a lot of hate on Twitter, people saying like it's an exhibition. He didn't actually win a tournament because he only played 54 holes. It's live. It's the Greenbrier. They were all going low. I don't know, man. I don't know how you can take away a guy shooting a 58 in a competitive round of golf. The way that he was making bomb putts, he was drilling drives, not even watching the ball fly in the air, just getting the tee, put in his pocket. John Rahm tweeted out, no matter who you are or where you are playing, 58 on a Sunday to win is an incredible accomplishment. Congratulations to Bryson DeChambeau on your win today at the Greenbrier. 58, dude. We're doing Barstool Golfs with these guys from the office, and guys, no one's breaking 58 in 9 holes. It's crazy.
No, it's a 58 is a number you like can't even wrap your head around. I know Jim Furyk did it a few years ago at the Travelers, I believe, and it's just 58. That's a whole different. We talk about these guys when they shoot like 65, 66, 67. How crazy that is. 58? Are you kidding me? So yeah, no. Shout out to Bryson. It does that John Rahm tweet. And just the general feeling around LIV has certainly softened, at least the way that I've seen it. Like after the merger was announced, everyone's just kind of like, yeah, we're 58, man. We're going to give props to a 58. So just a really, really impressive round of golf.
Magnus Carlsen was seen on the golf course. I saw the International Chess Federation tweeted out a picture of Magnus. You know Magnus Carlsen? We got to get this guy. We got to get this guy on the podcast. We got to go do a video with him. I need to be in the presence of this guy because I've watched videos on him and I genuinely don't believe he's a real human being. I would love to like talk to him about real stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like like titties in front of him or something, or like just like something like, I don't know, what's your favorite candy? And like, what'd you think about this movie? And really like just talk to him like a human being. Cause I don't think he can do it. I don't think he can actually have a conversation. He's a robot.
Yeah. He's a chess
stuff
robot.
That he can do on a chessboard is not real.
Oh, he's unbelievable.
You ever see the video of him playing like 30 different people in chess?
Yeah.
And he goes around,
beats them all.
He'll make a move and then he goes to the next one and they're all in a line in a square basically. And he beats them all.
No, we're talking, those are good chess players that he's playing against.
Yeah, it was like a professional chess team.
No, a guy like him is endlessly fascinating. But yeah, you don't see much about him like outside of chess. Like what's his favorite ice cream flavor?
Right. How does he hit a golf ball?
It was just a
they
picture
have
that
this
you saw?
Picture of him with a putter. It's like incredible.
That's a great
Look at
picture.
This guy. It's a great picture. I need to talk to him. I need to talk to Magnus Carlsen. That's like one of my dreams is to have him on the podcast. I think that'd be great. He'd be an unbelievable
I don't think he does a ton of press. I've never seen him.
He's got to. He has to.
No, but he's one of those guys who he's so good at what he does that he doesn't have to do anything else. I'm envious of people like that in a lot of ways. I mean, we can try. We can certainly try to get Magnus Carlsen on this show.
We got to get him. He's one of my favorite guests that we could possibly get.
But you know what I mean? Guys like that have no use for guys like us.
Oh.
When you're so good at something You don't have to be in this world.
Dude, Brock Nelson's like, I turned my phone off for the last like 3 weeks. I'm like, can you imagine? Can you imagine being able to do that? It's just so nice. Where it's like, yeah, camp starts for hockey in like August, and like I'm with my family and we're like working on the house, and I just like don't need to tweet or look at Instagram. What? I don't have to do any of that. My job starts in a couple months. I'm really good at it, and I have to try and win and lose hockey games. That's really all that matters. I have to like, be a good family guy and just be home, and like it's just it. Like that's his life, and he gets to be a fucking professional athlete. He doesn't have to worry about tweeting and Magnus Carlsen winning fucking chess matches on YouTube. He doesn't.
The only thing is you can up your profile. Like if you're a guy who's great at something, you can be in the social media world and it gets you out there. But you don't have to do it. You can just
make $50 million and not
right. He made Is that how much Brock has made?
I mean? Like, yeah, probably at some. Yeah,
right. He's gonna make $50 million, and he would have never had to have a Twitter account or an Instagram account. That's pretty crazy.
No, crazy.
I will say, as I've like been on Twitter less. It's just changing, and I don't like the way that it's changing.
Yeah, that For You page like being the first thing you see is like it's just annoying. I definitely find myself like closing out of it before I don't even go to like the my actual timeline anymore. I forget to do it, and I feel like I just miss everything. What I do now is I go and I check on the people that I want to see, which I've never used to do. I feel like Twitter's made me search people's names. Like I'll check Dave Portnoy's Twitter every single morning because I feel like I'm missing every single morning and night just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Maybe I'll even throw in a 1 o'clock check-in. You know what I mean? And so I'll go morning, 1 o'clock, probably 4:30, and then right before I go to bed, just to make sure I'm not missing anything. That's on top of already scrolling. So you can't miss the Eagle if he's tweeting out anything.
No.
And then I'll like type in your name and Riggs to see if anything came up for play. I just like want to make sure that I'm up to date with stuff. But I agree with you where I'm not really seeing the things I used to see. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah, and it's definitely still in my rotation. Like I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter. I mix in TikTok now every once in a while. Like it's still in there, but if we're talking percentages, the percentages for Twitter are going down. And I know people will be like, "Oh, you just hate Elon and blah blah blah." It's not that. I mean, it is him to a degree where he's changing it. It's called X now. They're called reposts instead of retweets. Like the Twitter that I know and used to know and used to love, I don't know. It's kind of lost that little bit of it, and feels like the bots are out of control. If it's just the whole thing is sort of a shit show, and I'm finding myself on it less, which I'm stunned even for myself because I'm a Twitter guy. Like I love Twitter. That's the app I feel most comfortable on. It's the one I feel like I can actually get my real personality out there, as opposed to like Instagram, where like look at the guy you're looking at right now. I'm a fucking slug. Like that's not my app. Twitter is my app, and for whatever reason, it's just kind of losing its allure, which is kind of sad to me, but it's probably better for my brain and my real life, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's just interesting.
It is interesting. I'm trying to think if I got anything else.
Pickleball, Childers.
I'm having a birthday party on Saturday if you want to come.
Are you really?
Yeah, just having some people over.
All right. You're turning 30.
I know. Last week of my 20s.
Wow.
I'm a little nervous about it, but I talked to Roan about it. We were on like a punk meeting.
Yeah.
Which is always funny. Like we have like a band meeting for all this weird collection of people that work at Barstool Sports. We talk about what set list we're going to play at like these massive shows in colleges and the Pizza Fest.
What did he say about turning 30?
Well, I remember Roan telling me something about 30 like a couple of years ago, whether he had just turned 30 and like we talked about getting older. But he was like, you're never more yourself than when you're in your 30s. Like 20s is like, you're trying to find out things. You're making mistakes. You're like getting a girl. You're getting engaged. Then 30 is like, you figured it out sort of like you're embarking on like figuring out who you are in this time. Like you've never been more you than in your 30s. You're getting married. You're getting all these things. Like he's telling me like all these things are happening. And now you have time to focus on like, you've made the decisions on who you're going to be, and now it's like time to like actually enjoy them. So I think that's it's a lot of like trying to find it in your 20s, and then like now it's like you've done it. Let's figure it out now. Like now you're you. You've made the decision on who you are, and now you get to live who you are.
That's interesting, and I think he's at least partially right. Like your 20s are chaos for certainly the early part, mid part. Once you start getting
your be.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to like experience a lot of different things. Like he's saying, like it is like a trial and error period of your life where you decide, oh, I like this, oh, I don't like that, these are the things I want to do, these are the things I don't want to do, like that. Then in your 30s, he is right, where most people, and it's not for everybody, but most people kind of know what they like at that point. And so now I'm just going to hammer home those things, as opposed to going to all these different events and these shows and these social gatherings, and you start to weed out the things and the people that you don't want to spend time with. And your 30s are more like pointed and you have a focus. I think he's right. I think he's largely right about what he said.
Yeah. So we'll see.
So-
maybe I'll want to kick everyone out of the party once I turn 30. I'll be like, I don't like these social gatherings anymore, but we'll see.
Maybe.
No, yeah, I think it'll be good. I'm a little nervous about it. It's like you're just throwing a decade away. You're never getting that one back. You look back on the 20s and you're like, it's over. That's over. There's no turning back time. So.
But the thing that I always find fascinating about the human brain is that it starts to, it becomes okay with those things. Like when I was 19 or 20 or 21, when I was in that moment, I was like, I'm going to be like this forever. We get to go out every night. We have the most fun. I'm with the people that I'm the closest to every single night. And you think you're going to feel that way forever. And then when you turn 30 or you get a little bit older, your brain starts to be like, I don't want to do those things as much. These are the things that I want to do. You don't stay the same. You change. And the things that you think you're going to be super into forever, you realize you don't want to do that at all anymore. Like if you told me, like this weekend, I'm going to do the things that I did when I was 19 and 20, I would cry. I would want to cry and I wouldn't want to do that. Like I want to just like everything starts to sort of just kind of calm down a little bit. And your brain is like, all right, let's go out and we'll hang out and then we'll be in bed by 11 o'clock. Like
yeah.
It's totally, and I'm okay with it. I'm totally fine with it. Where if you had told me that when I was 19, I was like, that sounds like the lamest thing in the world.
I saw a tweet or a post, whatever you're going to call it now with X. It was like, what happens as you get older? Do you find the people in your age group attractive as you get older? So like when I'm 70, I'm going to be like thinking 70-year-olds and 80-year-olds are like hot shit. Like, is that, it was an interesting way to think about like what happens to your brain as you get older. Cause it seems as though that's been happening already, right? Like you're like 16, 18, whatever, you're in high school and like the girls in your or guys in your class, you're like, whatever, that's who I like. That's
my pool
age. That's my pool. And then you turn 20, like looking at a 25 or 30-year-old at that point would be like, that's a mom, get away from me. And now you're 30 and I'm thinking like, oh, all these 30-year-olds look good to me. You know what I mean? Like that's my pool now. Like that's what I find attractive. These people but when you're 12 looking at them, they're ancient. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Is that the same when you're 70 and 80? Is they all look like incredible? And the explanation that this one, I guess a 75-year-old on Twitter gave was like, he doesn't know how to explain it perfectly, but something happens to your brain where you end up like not looking for like beauty, but more like you end up being fascinated with everyone your age group and like how they look and like do they look good for their age and like how have they gotten to that part. Like he's almost like you're admiring like the wrinkles because it's been a long like weathered life. Like in your like you see another person at your age and you're like thinking about all the things that they went through in their life. Like it's almost like a perspective thing as opposed to like I wonder if they have tight tits or something. You know what I mean? Like they're not thinking about sexuality. They're thinking about like the journey is how he kind of described it, where it's like, there's nothing I can do about it. It's just the way my brain operates now, where like I see someone and I think immediately, how did this body in front of me get to this point? So it's more of like they look for stories as opposed to like anything else.
Well, the sexual desire has to go down just because
I just found that really interesting.
It is interesting
that your brain changes what it wants to see based off of just like, probably because it has to. That's just the way the world works. Like you can't even like reproduce anymore. Well, so it's probably like, oh, this is what we have to like find interesting now.
Well, the humans we've been going at this for a long time. So the brain has adjusted like what it wants at certain ages. Like think about if you're 75 and you're still just crazy attracted to 25-year-olds. Like that's just can't be how like society works. That can't be how the human race works.
Stu Feiner has become an anomaly.
He is an anomaly in a lot of ways, but like it would be chaos if that were the case. Like the human brain has to adapt in a way where when you're 65, 70, you're far more interested in people in your pool, in your age group than you are to a 35-year-old.
What, like, is this like psychology? Like, who like studies this stuff? Is that really what that is?
I don't know. Maybe sociology.
Sociology.
That would be my guess.
It's really interesting. I've always like wanted to study people and like the brain and like why they react certain ways and like why certain age groups are certain ways and other age groups are certain ways. It's an interesting topic, and honestly, I don't even know how you study it.
Well, that's going back to our original point about how things are moving so fast and everything's accessible. You could definitely learn a lot about that just on YouTube.
Yeah,
like
true.
if you just wrote in the search bar what you want to find out, you would be able to find out a shit ton about it.
The times of struggling to see your golf shots are over. Introducing the Green Wolf high performance precision sunglasses powered by Shady Rays, designed with golfers in mind. Shady Rays are immaculate sunglasses. I love watching Riggsy always got his Green Wolves on. They're the new ones that we're talking about here, and they do look incredible. The Green Wolf is exclusively built just for golf with semi-polarized lenses specifically made to enhance your game. Semi-polarization cuts glare while increasing clarity, so your ability to track the golf ball is maximized no matter the conditions. If you do not love your sunglasses, your Shady Ray sunglasses, exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's literally no risk when you shop, and their team always has your back with personal and fast support. Lead the pack today and get a leg up against the competition with the Green Wolf, your new go-to golf sunglasses. Exclusively for Foreplay listeners, Green Wolf is giving out an amazing deal for the season. Go to greenwolfgolf.com and use code 4GW, FOREGW, for, ready for this one? Yep. 30% off your first pair. Greenwolf.com and use code 4GW for 30% off your first pair. Speaking of YouTube, Quiggs, who works at Barstool, he tweeted out like his Sunday YouTube queue night, like basically queues up a bunch of documentaries on YouTube. And every time he tweets out something like that, I'm going to follow it to a T. His like YouTube searching skills are incredible.
Yeah, he finds stuff that's super interesting.
These like unbelievable documentaries on YouTube that's one of his greatest skills, and he's a very skilled person.
Yeah, everything on my YouTube is like comedy podcasts, but he'll find things that are, what's the one YouTube brand?
Handover Productions,
something like that. Yeah, that just has like, here's how the president and his security detail gets around. I think it starts with a W.
I could have accidentally just said like a porn media company or something. I have no idea what Handover. I think that might have been it.
Yeah, he finds very interesting videos.
Like he had like 8 videos lined up, and the first one was the U.S. military weakness in a war with China is the Panama Canal, and it's a 14-minute video about why the U.S. has a weakness in the Panama Canal. A video I would never, ever in a million years stumble upon, but he found it and he queued it up. Then the next one was I made a U-Haul go supersonic, and it's like a picture of a plane, like basically holding a U-Haul, and then it's the plan to build an island using only electricity. Like he's hitting a bunch of different ways. Why the U.S. government has no idea how many buildings it owns. Like these are all things that I find interesting. He's finding really good YouTube videos. So Big Sean Q on Twitter, if you ever see him tweet out his queue of like this other one, how North Korea finally made it impossible to escape, a 25-minute video.
See, that's super interesting.
Super interesting.
Dude,
I'm watching fucking dumbest stuff on YouTube.
Oh, so bad. The most interesting one that I've watched, and I think he recommended it, or he at least recommended the page, and I found it, was the president and how he gets around and the security detail, and how they keep like bags of the president's blood in one of the cars. So like if something bad happens, they have blood. Like there's better things on YouTube. Well, you should watch the Foreplay YouTube channel, but there are things on there also where it's like building bridges and things about the president and things about North Korea that you can find on there that are super interesting.
Yep.
What else you got? Anything else going on?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Going to Alabama and then Toronto. So that's going to be quite the trip. I don't even know how you get from Alabama to Toronto.
There's got to be a connection in there somewhere.
There's going to be a connection, I think, in Atlanta. Trying to think. We got another Barstool Golfs filming. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know what else. I'm trying to think.
No, we can be done.
Yeah. I'm looking at all my little snippet of pictures that I hate.
I know. It's it's just, I don't know. When you talk about improving it, you sound 300 years old.
Yeah.
But I do think there's some validity to it.
Totally. I think it's fine to just like use the old technology and kind of just like have that with you, just like keep it alive a little bit. You don't have to change just like where technology is going, but let's not just like make the things that like I genuinely find home movies to be like really awesome, entertaining, and like nostalgic, and like it's like dopamine for my brain to like remember things and see them and like in real time. Like it released, like I loved it. Like I'm like, wow, like that's refreshing to my brain. Not everything's so fast and moving forward. We took a step back for a second, take a step back and realize where everything came from. And I think we should hold on to that just a little bit instead of always going life in the fast lane.
Are you going to have a camcorder at your birthday party?
I think I should.
It's a good test run.
Trent, that's a great point. I'm going to order one.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Have people pass that thing around. I love the pass around.
How cool is that?
I love it. I think you should definitely have it at your party.
Fuck yeah. All right. Done. Absolutely done. Ordering one right now. Or I'll wait until I get some responses. Maybe people have like good ones for me to order.
Tell all your
friends. I want it
friends.
to look like grainy. I don't want it to be some like.
No, you got to get an older one.
Yeah.
Tell all your
tape.
friends like, hey, there's going to be a camcorder. Just pass this thing around.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. I'm
okay.
in. That's the show. Shout out to JT for grinding. Love that guy. I hope he plays for the Ryder Cup. Speaking of Ryder Cup, we have we just got a shipment of some stuff, and we're not going to talk about it, but it's a little tease. We got some good stuff coming out for the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, we do.
Did you open up that box?
Oh yeah,
it's insane.
It's cool.
So that's coming soon. Also, we got a lot of cool stuff coming out.
All right.
I thought I just lost you guys there.
Nope, you're still here.
We gotta get you to break 90.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. That's gonna happen. I can feel it.
Alrighty. I think that's it. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.